Hi and welcome along to a brand new episode of the Wedding Band Show with myself, Brian McDermott. On this episode, I spoke with Alan from the Long Time Coming band. Alan gives his advice for couples looking for bands, and he also gives a few tips for any new wedding bands starting out. So check out this episode. So Alan from the Long Time Coming band, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Brian, I'm great. Thank you for having me on. Been following the progress of your podcast for some time.
Oh, that's great.
I was waiting for this thing, so I'm super excited to get chatting to you.
It's actually been a while since I've done one, so you're the first guest back in a while, so it's great to be back. Yeah, if anything goes wrong today, we might have to do this a few times. So, Long Time Coming band, when did you get started?
Yeah. So, long time coming. It's funny, and it's kind of how the name came about. I'm in the wedding industry for 26 years. This is actually my 27th year. I started when I was 14 as an apprentice to a DJ who owned a DJ company. So that's how I got started. But I always worked for someone else. Yeah. I was always in other bands. I only started singing when I was 19. So when I set up this band in 2017, I said, I have to come up with a name. And it's actually my wife said, well, look, it's a long time coming, you doing this yourself, you know. And you know, when you're thinking of names, it's, maybe I can abbreviate it as we go along. But sure, it's stuck. And it's funny that some people actually gravitate towards the name more than the band because they might have had a long engagement, you know.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
Coming out of COVID, not to mention the C word on your podcast, I'm very sorry. But it's good we're back, Brian. It's good we're back. But it's you know, the rescheduled dates, like we were almost guaranteed to be mentioned in a speech, you know. And this wedding's been a long time coming, like the band, you know. So,
and how many members are in the band?
We're a 5-piece band.
5-piece, yeah. And you play all over Ireland?
Yes. God, we travel. Yeah, we've the length and breadth. So we're based in County Louth, but look, when you advertise nationwide, you have to play nationwide. And to be honest, we like an odd road trip now and again. It's team building exercise.
Well, it gets you. I always find it gets you out to new audiences as well. If you're playing in the same area all the time in the same hotel for 5 family weddings, you know, you feel bad, even though they might have forgot what you've done the last few years. But I always feel like, oh, you know, they're not getting sick of us at this stage. So it's kind of nice to venture out.
You know, I know you're 100% right. I think, look, you can be overplayed or overexposed in a particular area. That's why it's good that Ireland is a big country. And you know, there's plenty of wedding bands. It's funny, I could be down your end of the country and you could be up my end of the country in the same night. You know, it's
we're actually heading off. We're not too far. We're heading off to Meath tonight, so we're getting
not so bad.
Your general direction.
Yeah.
And then if a couple gets in touch with you, what would you say is, you know, what kind of music do you do? Is usually the second or third question. How would you describe your set?
Yeah, we'd be a generalist wedding band. So we kind of, during our booking process, we're kind of gathering a bit of information. Couples like to give as much or as little as they want. So it's generally their likes and their dislikes. The dislikes are fairly important because sometimes we have brides that, you know, a particular song or artist might just give them the ick and they don't want it played. And if it's Proud Mary, we can't be friends. We can't do the wedding, you know. That's our big finish. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it's general party uplifting, you know, it's that kind of thing. We can cover the jives and the quick steps, you know, if needed, you know, particularly up our end of the country where I suppose a lot of places around the country are into their jives. You know, you kind of need to have a good 45 minute set of that if you need to pull it out of your pocket because you know some weddings love that, but it's very generalist. We like our dance stuff as well near the end of the night, you know, the 90s and noughties dance stuff
that's back in a big way now, really.
It's huge. It's funny when we play it at our showcases, people come up and that's the first thing they talk about. They're not talking about Galway Girl or even Proud Mary. It's I love that 90s medley. You know, it is great, but I think Yeah, the old dance tunes. Yeah, it's that generation that's getting married. The people that grew up with them songs. You
Yeah,
know.
exactly, exactly. But even I see my kids now; they're kind of listening to what I'd call better music. I think like even 80s tracks and stuff like that. Well, a lot of those are kind of big now in, like you'd have your Netflix series and stuff.
Yes.
So I think there's
Yes.
definitely hope for the future anyway.
I think even TikTok has brought back, even if songs are remixed, they
Yeah.
brought back a lot of the older. What age are your kids?
Do you put me on the spot? Just don't ask me their birthdays. I've got 5 of them. Well, 18 down to 6.
18 then to 6, right? No, I asked that
Yeah.
question because funny, our 16-year-old was at a teenage disco and just out of pure curiosity, I was like, what are they playing? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, they're playing like, modern stuff and playing loads of oldies, loads of the older stuff like Mr. Brightside. I went,
It is true. You do
old,
still
yeah.
kind of think that modern stuff, Mr. Brightside and that, and then
I
you're
know.
like, oh no, wait,
I
hold
know.
on, that's
That's
years
not.
old. My
Yeah,
daughter,
yeah.
the 13-year-old, was at a teenage disco a while ago. Well, she was at 2 or 3 different locations, and her
Okay.
favorite one was the one where they played all kind of like ABBA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She said the
Yeah.
last one, it was too much dance music, like modern music. So no, I think there's
Right.
definitely hope for the future. We've another 30 years left in us yet. All the songs we're
Yeah.
doing will come back around.
The wedding band industry is safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like people are
So
planting these songs into youngsters' minds now, isn't
oh
it?
yeah, it's just planning
Yeah.
for the future. So I'm guessing the way you got your start that you probably offer the disco with the band, do you?
We do it, yeah. So, like that, I said I started as a DJ.
Yeah.
We worked for the company I worked for. We supplied all the DJ music for weddings and the nightclubs
All right,
for
yeah.
Sean Quinn's hotels. So at the
Oh
time
yeah,
he had the
yeah.
Sleeve Russell, yeah, he had the Hillgrove, he had the Kilmore, and he had the Ardboyne in Navan. There was a couple in Dublin as well, but they were the main ones that we looked after. So. You could have been out 4 or 5 nights a week DJing.
Yeah.
And what I got is funny. I was in nightclubs and DJing at weddings, and I wasn't allowed to drink.
Yeah,
You know what I
get a
mean? I
drink.
wasn't old enough to drink. When I was 16, I wasn't old enough to drive, so I had to hire a driver to bring me to these things. So
Yeah. Something the
there was
same.
more
I
time.
started a 2-piece with a friend of mine in junior cert. So we were
Right.
going around to pubs at the weekend. I still remember getting £40 each. It was
Wow.
great, and you could do 3 nights on a bank holiday weekend, going into school on the Tuesday morning, minted with
You'd spend it
£120,
all on equipment.
all on hash browns and yeah.
Oh, there you go. Right?
And then
Yeah,
as,
so we
with the disco, yeah. Sorry, is there other services then that you'd offer couples?
Yeah,
Like
we
band
do.
and
We do
disco.
pre-dinner entertainment and ceremony music. We also, what's very popular now at the moment, probably do it yourself, is the DJ sax combo.
I don't do
Um,
that. No,
No,
I have enough
but
of the sax by the end of the band. Yeah.
yeah, it's so popular, and
Yeah.
it took a while to get that right from our
Yeah.
end. It was fairly people. We began it over COVID, and a lot of people were looking videos and things, and we're like, we don't actually have them. But now it's kind of a lot. I'd say 50% of our bookings that book our band and DJ will add on the saxophonist as well.
Okay. Yeah.
It is really good.
Take a note of that here. So yeah.
Add that on, yeah. No, well, the guys, like, there's a certain criteria for the sax players that have to be really interactive. Obviously
Yeah.
a wireless mic, getting that
Yeah.
into the crowd is a big deal.
Yeah.
And obviously been able to, like, as well, it's all right playing the dancey stuff, but if that's not working, you have to pivot. So
But I've often wondered that. If the
Yeah.
like, because
Yeah.
all the promos you see with DJ and sax, it's kind of the dance stuff. So when you turn
Yeah.
around then and you start banging out your ABBA and Grease Lightning and stuff like that, does the sax player, he plays along with those as well?
He has to. Yeah, he has to. Like, they kind of do it
Yeah.
in sets. They'll do maybe 20 minutes, they'll go out onto the floor, and then they'll come back to
yeah.
you, maybe grab a drink, and they're back out. But it
Yeah.
has to be what's working. It can't
Yeah,
be just
yeah,
like that. This is the novelty of the sax player on the dance floor, and these
Yeah.
are the dance tunes that have to be played. People have to
Yeah,
dance as
yeah.
well, so it has to work.
So if somebody's getting in touch with you, basically you can do band, disco, add-on sax player, and drinks reception. And did you say ceremony music?
Yeah, we do ceremonies as well.
You do
Yeah,
that as well. So the full package,
yeah,
really.
the full
Yeah.
package. Yeah, it's nice doing them. Like it's you kind of get to know, especially the drinks reception part. Like you get to know the crowd before the rest of the band land and.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
the
Well, it's handy
parties.
for the couple too because it's kind of one person they're dealing with, probably one booking fee, and they probably feel like
On their
coming
own.
up to the day. Then they don't have to be checking with loads of different people. So
Exactly, yeah, and
it
that's
takes a lot
one
of
thing
the
I say
hassle out of it.
about even booking the band and DJ package. Obviously, the DJ part has to be really good because the band have to stand over that part of the service too.
Yeah.
But once your band arrives say at 8 p.m. That's it. You're done. All your suppliers have effectively landed for the night.
Yeah.
You're not checking at 11 o'clock to see is my next supplier coming. You're
Yeah,
finished.
no sign of a DJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now one thing I meant to ask you about, I see from your videos online and your posts, you've got a really good setup as far as equipment goes, lights and everything. So does that take
Yes.
long, or how long would you say it takes you to set up? Because it's very impressive
It's
with the lights and backdrop and everything.
Thank you very much. It's actually our sixth member. That stuff.
Oh.
It does sell the band very well. But
Yeah.
so the usual, I think most bands will tell couples they require an hour from when they gain access to the room, and we're no different. But if things are running late and run the pressure, we've had it up in 20. We had a photographer timing us because they wanted out the door. It was 22 minutes, and that was with nothing left. That wasn't with anything. Okay, don't set that up because we haven't time. Like that comes with every gig. It's just it all wheels in boxes. And we've a really good system, and we've a good team there that everyone gets stuck in. If you see the guys working, the guys lifting the tops up, like they're not killing themselves or anything. They don't look like they're rushing around, but it's fast and it's effective. You know what I mean? It's
it's efficient.
It's a good system. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, I think that's like there is a lot of bands that the setup isn't what takes the time. It's kind of waiting for the venue maybe to clear the area where we set up and that kind of thing. And then after, when we are set up, when we turn around, of course, we have to find the bride and groom and make sure all the bridal party are there. So that's why we probably say an hour. But 22 minutes is impressive, all right.
Yeah.
But you hear, to be honest, I'm sure you've heard them. You hear some stories about bands taking an hour and a half and nearly 2 hours to set up. You'd wonder what they're doing.
And that's the drag it out. Yeah, it's to...
Well, it could be, it could be to drag it out. To be fair, my first guess would be that they probably have maybe a 2 hour set and they don't want to start at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
exactly. So what's one piece of advice you would give a couple starting out today now in search of a wedding band? What would be one or two good pieces of advice for them?
But you probably want to run through a bit of a criteria. Obviously, you're going to narrow down your search. Like I know, I'll put myself in the position of a groom. Like when I was getting married in 2016, I fell down the rabbit hole. I was like, oh my God, I don't know who to pick. And obviously, I'm going to be a little bit fussier.
Is this band now or wife?
This was the band. Oh, yeah. Sure, she's still there. Yeah. I was very fussy on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who to pick. Yeah, go down there.
No, she and she's still with me. I can't believe it. But so we made a short list of bands that we liked and the things you're looking at. Obviously, you're going to watch their promo videos. The next thing is reviews. Are they active on social media? Are they replying to comments? What are people saying about this band? And then absolutely go and see them live, because the majority of even the video we put up online, people come see us live and say the videos don't do you justice. They're obviously there as a calling mechanism to say, get in touch here, but definitely come and see us live. It's super important, Promo videos and all are great. Even live recordings are good, but they're never going to capture the real thing.
There's a massive difference between a video and what happens in the room with a crowd.
Yes, yes. You could be at a concert and, you see people, when people are at a concert, it's all over their stories, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, you know, you need to be there. You know, yeah.
And
Thanks for
what was
sharing.
it? Yeah. Now I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit too. This question, I only thought of it there when I was setting up. What would, and it kind of leads me into it because, like myself, you're around a long time. What would be one piece of advice you would give a wedding band starting up?
A wedding band starting up. Well, what I done was, right, I'll tell you, before I started, I was 6 years off social media. I only went back on social for no particular reason. I only went back on it when I set up Long Time Coming. And what I done was I looked up what was deemed the most popular bands. I looked up what they were doing and where they were putting themselves. So what we achieved in about 6 months of being in business was it looked like we were established years. So that's the advice I give a band starting up. Be omnipresent. Don't be afraid to put your name forward for anything. If no one knows about you, no one can book you. You know, yeah, and by all means necessary, get out there and gig. If you're a wedding band, you're starting out, you can't just say, I'm a wedding band, book me for, you know, get out and do the big gigs. Like, earn your trade, carry the gear up the stairs of the venues, play for the £40 for the hash browns. You know, it's, yeah, you know, you can't just turn up and say, I'm a wedding band and book me for the biggest day of your life because we're brand new.
Yeah.
You know, you have to get yourself out there, so.
Yeah, well, that's a good piece of advice. So if people want to find out more about the Long Time Coming band, where would they go? Where would you put them first? Your social media, or would you say your website?
Yeah, you can come to the website, www.longtimecoming.ie. But we're very active on our social media platforms. So we're using Facebook and Instagram are our main areas. We post on everything, but that's where you really find us. So
no, you really are. I have to say, on social media, you are very active. You do, like, in fairness, you put up a lot of content. You know, a lot of live clips as well, which is nice to see.
Yeah. Yes, that's like a little add-on we have for our couples. It's you know, we ask permission all the time. Can we do that? But it's a little added extra, as well as using that as a promotional tool for the band. You know, we can send that on to the couple and say that's a little keepsake for yourself.
Yeah.
It's you know, you have the sing off, you have the little bit at the end, and you know, bits maybe the cameraman, videographer. They may only be booked up until a certain time. So we're there with we have a little 360 GoPro thing that we just hit the button anytime the.
And do you leave that up for the full gig then? Just that runs for the full night?
Yeah.
All right.
It's not. It doesn't record absolutely everything. So, but the fact that it's beside me, I can tip it on and tip it off whenever I need to. So.
No, that's a great idea actually. Just take another note. Although I've enough video editing at the minute without having to do that.
Yeah,
and have you any? I know you do a lot of showcases too. Have you any showcases coming up?
Well, do you know what? Yeah, we just had one in January. Our next one we booked for. We do them kind of every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how busy we are. So we put this one for the 26th of March. We actually would have liked to have that a little bit earlier, but Mother's Day is the week before. So 26th of March. We do them in the Pilo Hotel in Ashbourne, and they're always at 3 p.m. It's private viewing, so if anyone would like to attend, they can always register their attendance, you know, how many people they'd like to bring along, and then give you an email or call down to the house, whatever they want.
I suppose they need to check the date too before they turn up, just to make sure you're available.
Super
and all
important.
That kind of thing.
The last one we had 2 couples that didn't, and unfortunately we had to tell them we're fully booked.
Yeah.
I said, go check if Brian McDermott is available.
Good one. So look, Alan, thanks for coming on the show. First one back. I might call this season 2. And best of luck with the band. And well, I'm not sure you're flying anyway. And thanks for coming on the show, and talk to you soon.
Same to you, Brian. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Wedding Band Show podcast, which was brought to you by the Brian McDermott Band and Pixel Productions.